Anyways, 3, 2, 1, and we are back, and we are here, Jared.
Yeah.
And we're excited to talk, I guess, some more about social media today, and some about the
Social Media Week here on the Untranslatable podcast.
That's
Wait,
true,
social
actually.
media was our first episode about social media?
I mean, no, but we talked about it.
I guess we talked about representation in media, social media.
Exactly.
Although I will say, I guess social media is one of the, I guess, relatively speaking, fairest places for your voice to be heard if you have something to say, you know.
Unless you get canceled or deplatformed or what have you.
Yeah,
But,
I guess so. But there's always
That
somewhere to
doesn't usually
go.
happen. That's true.
There's more than
That
one
is true.
place. And if what you have to say is good enough, people will follow, I guess.
That is true. If you build it, they will come, Jared. At least that's what they say.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what movie that's from. Sorry, I got a little.
Didn't you say you had something to?
Yeah, I do have something.
Okay,
for you.
you're just sitting here.
I'm just.
I told you I didn't have anything, I'm letting you
enjoying,
start.
Just enjoying the day so far, Jared. You
Okay.
know, gotta relax and ease into the pod today. Exactly. Sit back, relax, and let me just read you a headline here, Jared. The House passes the Tiger King bill to ban private ownership of big cats. Have you heard about this?
No, I have not.
So the legislation
They named it after the Tiger King.
Apparently. Well, we'll see. I don't think so. House on Thursday passed a bill that could prevent the emergence of another Tiger King. Joe Exotic, the other nickname for Tiger King, Joseph Maldonado Passage, for whom the infamous Netflix docuseries is named, is in prison serving a 22-year sentence for wildlife crimes and murder for hire scheme. What Congress wanted to avoid was people allowing to interact with big cats so easily. But I guess I don't know if it's safe to say that Carol Baskin got her wishes, Jared. But,
Did you hear she got attacked by one of her cats recently? I think I saw that on social. I think she's okay.
Okay. That's crazy.
It's interesting that they. I find it a little ridiculous that they named it after him. Obviously, he's a famous tiger person, but it's like, is this how we name our?
I don't think that's what they're calling it.
Okay,
they're putting it
because it's like he's not the only
quotations.
one out there with just because he got a Netflix show or whatever. He's not the only one out there with a bunch of cats. It's so weird that it would be.
Is that the power Netflix has now, Jared? They put out a documentary and then. You know, I know obviously the legislation and the lawsuits have been going on for years.
Yeah,
because if you watch the documentary,
did they say what how people voted?
Well, let's see here.
Did you see they also voted on legalizing marijuana in the House?
I did see that.
And only 5 Republicans voted for it.
Really?
And, yeah.
They're going to be ostracized,
but
now,
it's,
won't they?
yeah. How dare you? But so it barely passed in the House, but it probably won't pass in the Senate.
Mm-hmm. So the bill's actual impact on the Tiger King, had he not got into financial and legal trouble that forced him to transfer ownership of his zoo to Jeff Lowe and ultimately led to his imprisonment, would have been minimal, apparently. Maldonado Passage had an exhibitor license, so he could have remained in operation, but he would have to stop his controversial practice of cub petting, as the bill would ban licensed exhibitors from allowing the visitors to interact with the big cats.
Oh, so they can have them. They just can't have people
Apparently,
interact.
but you need to have an exhibitor, so you need to have like a zoo license.
A zoo license. Oh, so they don't have any license to do this.
Not to. Well, there's no license to have people just come pet these tiger cubs. I guess.
It doesn't exist.
Right.
Okay.
Right. But
this
yeah,
is so weird that
that's what our government is spending their time debating and voting.
It's
on,
like
I
there's a
guess.
damn pandemic right now. And people are losing their jobs and stuff, and we're like, all right, what's the tiger ruling? And it's probably not going to change anything, first of all.
Right. And it'll be in Texas, or where people I think have. I thought I read somewhere that Texas had the highest amount of either tigers or lions in the world now.
I would believe that. I do know that there are more tigers in captivity in the U.S. than there are in the wild world,
which is crazy. That's crazy to imagine.
Yeah.
American tigers,
and I can imagine a lot of them being in Texas. I don't know what's up with
Texas. Is just its own.
Yeah,
I gotta admit though, man, I've never been to Texas. I would actually love to go to Texas and see what it's like.
I've been there. I mean, I went there a bunch as a kid because I have a family from there, an uncle from there that I used to visit all the time, and cousin. It's cool. I mean, I was at Dallas and I was in the suburbs, so I mean, it's hard for me to like give a really a review of Texas for you based off of that. This is much like that episode we talked about before, the importance of exploration in your 20s. I went to Texas probably consistently, like Dallas, 5-6 years in a row over summer. I can't really tell you anything about Texas. I need to go to these places as an adult to form an opinion about these. Right. Or it's like, I've spent a lot of time there, but I still don't really know anything about the culture really, because I was just in the burbs hanging out with family and stuff. It's hard to really get a vibe check.
Yeah, you got to spend some time there.
Yeah,
you can't. A weekend isn't enough to get a vibe check.
Yeah, so I never got the lion check. I will say this though, my family that does live in Texas, they did come to Louisiana for Thanksgiving, I heard, and they hugged up on my grandma, and I was like, my mom was telling me about it, and I'm like, yeah, that's some real. They're from Texas, Mom. They don't even probably recognize. They're like, oh, no, it's okay. We're from Texas. I feel like I could imagine them saying, or like Texas people saying. Shout out to Texas, by the way, which we do have listeners there. It's a lovely place, very hot. For sure. Well, thanks for that, Chad. That was very interesting. You have nothing else to add there. That's it. I asked. That you couldn't find like how many voted for it.
Here, let me.
You don't have to look it up. I was just wondering if. Because I was just wondering if this is is this a do both parties sort of tend to agree on this, or are Republicans like, see, this is what's wrong with these damn liberals?
Well, yeah, I think so. Here it says, I don't know how many, but some GOP lawmakers also poked fun at Democrats for putting the bill on the floor ahead of measures such as coronavirus relief. So there you go. So some of the GOP people, I guess, were...
But it's interesting, because in the Twitter...
See, look right here. Jim, I guess, Congressman Jim Hagedorn, Democrat priorities.
Yeah, I'm seeing that.
Yeah.
Check for legalizing marijuana. Check for...
Tiger King.
That's hilarious, because that's what I brought up, too.
Right. Maybe you're really a Republican, Jared.
I was going to say, he might be proving the point.
Social media echo, you think, or what?
No, that like, it's just interesting that those are the two. That's what I brought up, too. And then small business assistance and bipartisan. It's interesting. Well, what I was going to say, this is kind of going with our topic, I guess. I forgot what our topic was for a second. My Twitter, for the most part, is is saying that it's Mitch McConnell holding up such.
That's what I've been seeing as well.
Such relief bills from happening, which is a popular, Republican leader.
Right. So I can give you a little bit more background, Jared. So Mike Quigley, who is an Illinois Democrat, was the one who sponsored this, I guess, to get this bill passed. And apparently it was brought up under the fast-track process known as suspension of the rules somehow. I don't really know what that really means, to be honest with you, Jared.
I don't either.
It garnered enough...
I don't like it, though.
Right? It garnered enough bipartisan support, despite some Republican opposition over concerns it would destroy responsible wildlife exhibitors and structured breeding programs for big cats. And then apparently the House Natural Resource Ranking member, Bob Bishop, was the only member to speak against the legislation, apparently, argued that reality TV shouldn't serve as the basis. Right there, Jared. Boom.
Yeah,
you got it.
Maybe
reality TV shouldn't serve as the basis for public policy. Remember, I jokingly said, does Netflix have too much power and they can make people change laws? But
when I was saying it's ridiculous that it's named after a TV show and this one dude... Like he's some sort of they call him the Tiger King.
What if they called it the Joe Exotic Law?
They call him the Tiger King, but I guarantee he doesn't own the most. He's not really the Tiger King of America. I'm sure there are people in America that have more tigers than him.
Well, he's
privately
in jail now, so
well, sure he has none now. But I mean, at his, I don't think he's like the. It's just like why I don't know. It's just ridiculous to name it after that. And then it's like what so. Imagine 40, 50, 60 years from now when we're looking at U.S. law and it's like the Tiger King law and it's like, Tiger King, what's Tiger King? And I was like, oh, it was this meth head and where was he? In Oklahoma. That kind of owned.
Come on and sit down. I'm going to tell you a story about the Tiger King.
Some meth head in Oklahoma that owned a private own a private
first of
farm
all-
or private zoo full of tigers, and
First of
he
all,
got
Jared,
arrested
meth
for trying to
head,
kill a woman.
country singer, tiger owner,
Yeah, that's true.
TV show host. Oh man, what
That's
a ridiculous
true.
guy!
Podcaster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Mullet haver.
he died in jail trying to get someone murdered. You know, it's like
Did he die in jail?
no,
Oh.
this is 60 years from now. I'm saying this is we're telling people in the future. And it's just like well, why does it name? It's like it's Netflix. What's Netflix? He got a show, and
What if Netflix?
people
one
really
day
liked it
is
for
like
during a
Blockbuster,
pandemic.
right? It was like the first month during the pandemic.
Yeah, that kicked off the pandemic. That's when we still thought it
Tiger
was
King.
fun.
Yep. And here we are.
I mean, people actually still seem to think it's fun for the most part. That's why the numbers are going up.
Yeah, some people are pretty ridiculous. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That is for sure. But you know what, Jared? I think it's always good when. Yep. Go ahead.
It's always good when what?
I was hoping you were gonna.
It's always good when spread a little love. That's what you wanted me to do?
when we. I was gonna say, but I just realized.
Go ahead.
Spread a little love.
Oh, hold up, Jared. This episode, this second one, we came
Spread a
in,
little love.
Woo! Just like I was about to say, we came in a little too hot. I just realized I closed my tab with my story for my shout out.
No, you can just go to history too, and it'll be up.
Oh, whoa.
Oh, yeah.
You don't be. Whoa,
Chad can't open his
hey.
history tab and
Whoa,
with me
you can't.
around.
Of course not.
That can only be done in private.
Exactly. You have to.
No. I'll refine it.
You have to sign an NDA waiver first.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot.
There's just a cut in the pod. All right, we're back.
Right. Beep. Yeah. Okay, and we're back, and here we are.
Maybe they could have seen the reflection of my glasses. You never know. There's
Exactly. There's a lot of tactics. You know, we got to stay safe and protected.
Oh
here,
my
Jared,
gosh.
you know? But this is a great. This is a great story though here, Jared. So shout out to Japan, the doctors, just everybody, I guess, out in Japan in general, I guess. This is just great news coming out of Japan. Japan's 10-year cancer survival rate has risen to 58.3%.
Wow.
Which
Where was from? Is it? I assume it's the highest in the world or something.
I couldn't tell you. All I know is from the numbers that they used to have in Japan, more people are living longer after.
Do you know
having
what the
cancer.
previous numbers were? Like what the growth has been? There's a chart there.
See, Jared, this is why I used to say you're the numbers and facts guy, because you ask these kind of questions.
Okay. These seem like okay.
Basic questions. You're right. Here. Well, this is just survival rates by different type. So the biggest one for dudes is prostate cancer.
That's the worst one.
Well, but it also has really high survival rates.
Oh, that's what that means?
Or no, you're right. It's the highest. Never mind. You're right. It's the highest amount.
No,
Yeah,
you're right.
that's-
It's survival rate. So prostate cancer has close to 100% survival
Right.
rate within 5 years,
Right.
and then close to 100% survival rate within 10 years.
Yep.
And then breast cancer for women
Yep.
has about a 90% survival rate. So that's what that says.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but
within
but-
5 years.
Right. But I think this. You're right though. This data is pretty interesting. You know, I mean, just seeing the different types. I wonder what they have done in order to do this. But so here we can see. So the different stages of cancer. So it's really what's really great though about this in general though. I think.
What about
Jared,
the
is-
different stages? You just said the different stages.
Right. Well, so here, so major stage type survival rate. So
I see.
it
Okay.
looks.
No,
what's-
I was just confused why you just said that.
What's
Okay.
interesting about the stages though is they do have data as well on how long people survive with the different stages. The sad thing is obviously once you get to stage 4, it's pretty slim.
Well, that's good. I always not good, but I always wondered if I know stage 4 is bad. I always wondered if that was the highest stage. Now I know.
Yes, it is. Yep. But yeah, I think what the whole point of this though, which I think is just fantastic news, is that I think it shows that we're learning more about it, and doctors in Japan they're learning more about this, and hopefully they can continue to make progress scientifically. So right here, National Cancer Center in Japan has announced that the 10-year survival rate for patients diagnosed with cancer between 2004 and 2007 was 58.3%. So I think honestly, statistically speaking, that's pretty good. And I don't know the age of these patients, but if you imagine if you're in your 60s or 70s and you get diagnosed with cancer, I mean, 10 years, it takes you 70 or 80. I feel like, not that I want to die at 60 or 70 or maybe even 80, but,
When would you like to die at?
I'd like to die when my body and my mind is still working to some extent. I don't want to. So whenever that would be, I would hope I could kind of stay sharp. Well, I would like to kind of stay sharp and physically, be mobile and everything. I would say like mid 80s. Mid 80s or 90s maybe, because I feel like after the mid 80s, unless like medically we are so advanced that we can live longer and live healthily, I don't, I've seen family members of mine who are older and I saw them suffer. I don't want to suffer, I guess.
Yeah. So you think you can go strong
suffer.
until the 90s?
That's mid
bold.
80s
That's
or
bold.
90s? I would
that's
like
bold.
that. Yeah.
I respect your belief in your body.
Well, we'll see. And I don't know what's going to happen with science, with our
Yeah,
environment.
I mean, they claim that we're close to reversing this whole aging process.
Right, but
It's
we'll
like, how
see.
old do you want to live to? 35.
Right.
And then live for the next 400, 500 years
Right.
and call it a day.
I'm just happy I've gotten to here, Jared. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I'm just happy I got to here. But I think that's great news. So shout out to all the doctors and researchers out in Japan.
Spread a little
I think
love.
it's good information to have, and hopefully we can all learn from it.
But I don't, see, I wish it was that simple, though, because I feel like
Right.
there's also, like, diet,
Well, sure.
lifestyle.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Although,
right.
don't they smoke a lot of cigarettes in Japan?
Oh, yeah. But I didn't see lung cancer as a high.
Lung
thing,
cancer
I
had
didn't.
to be on there.
Oh, but it's pretty low.
Low meaning that it has a low survival rate.
Oh, you're right. You're right. They need to have these colors as red, Jared, like they do for the
No, but
other
that doesn't
one.
make any sense.
No, I'm just teasing. But yeah.
Yeah, show me red
lung
so I know it's bad.
It's exactly. Hey, that's how they have the stop signs, Jared. Actually, I wonder.
I don't think because it's bad.
No, I know. I'm just teasing. But I wonder if there are any countries where they don't have red stop signs.
I don't. Probably.
I know that's a goofy
Probably not a lot,
question,
though.
but-
I'd say probably not a lot.
Okay.
I'd say that's pretty universal. And it's interesting because a lot of street signs aren't like speed signs or like all those.
They're green or blue or
very
yellow sometimes.
but the stop sign internationally, no matter where you go, maybe it's in a different language
or
maybe
different shape, maybe.
I don't think so. I'm gonna.
Are they all?
I think the octagon
hexagons or octagons
is
right?
the standard stop sign shape.
right.
And I'd say it might be in a different language, even but it might not. I think everyone gets stop, and
Isn't it like a arrête in French?
yeah, but I think they still might use stop signs. Like if I were to just look at
German, they say stop, don't they? If I remember correctly, it's been so long since I've been back there.
I might be completely wrong. Let's see. Let's stop sign Germany. There you
Stop.
go. See?
Yeah, stop.
Stop.
Halt.
Stop sign. Let's see. Stop sign.
Halt, I think,
France.
is more old
This is what
school.
this has come to.
I know France will be.
Stop.
Oh,
See,
stop,
there's both
arrête.
stop and a.
I wonder if that's in Canada. Or is that in
I
France?
said France. I typed in France. Saudi Arabia.
Let's see. Yeah,
Stop
stop,
in
in
Arabic
Arabic. Oh, wow.
and
One of
stop.
them has stop in English, right?
See?
Dude, I love the way Arabic looks written. It's such
Yes.
a beautiful, it looks awesome.
Yes. Oh, hold on. Let me do one more. Let's do one more. Stop in Japan.
Oh, yep.
Oh,
There we go.
God.
Saudi Arabia, Japan. Dude, keystrokes are the key pun 100% intended.
What's
to-
keystrokes?
What you just did, the Command A to select it so you
Oh.
can delete it quicker.
Yeah.
Keystrokes are the way to be when you're
Got
using
to.
a laptop.
Interesting. Japan
Oh.
has different stop signs.
And they have they have like an
There's
upside
our
down
upside
triangle.
down triangle. It looks like they might still have normal stop signs.
I kind
Or
of
not
like
normal,
that
but the more
upside down
common.
triangle.
But
That's
they do
kind of
use-
cool.
You like how it looks, but I think it might be a little confusing if you're driving in
That's
Japan.
true.
Did you ever
I
see
might
any
think
stop
it's
signs in China,
I
by the
might
way?
think it would be a yield sign. I'm pretty sure in China they're
I mean,
kinda
why
like
would you
they
pay
are
attention
here.
to them? Because you
Yeah.
never drove. Yeah,
Right.
okay. So
No,
they're
yeah,
designed a little differently, but it's still an octagon.
exactly, and still red.
And still says stop in English and a Chinese
Right.
character underneath, or just a character. Oh, no, it's still stop. So there you go.
Yeah,
Stop signs.
a lot of the road signs in China they had the Chinese characters and they did have English. So I will say that was nice. So I kind of had an idea of where I was going.
Oh, that's helpful.
Yeah,
Interesting.
Yeah.
They don't really, like even in Jinan?
yeah,
Okay, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
for sure. For sure. Well,
Let's move on to these untranslatables.
let's do it. And untranslatables are idioms, proverbs, sayings that don't always translate into English on a one-to-one basis. And we are here, your certified untranslatablers.
Dude, every time we do this, I'm like, I'm running out. I'm not going to be able to find any more. And I managed to find more. I actually found a new language today.
Ooh.
I mean, a language that I don't think I've ever done before. I should clarify.
All right.
But I'm
What
getting to
language?
a point where it's called Gujarati. Have you heard of it?
No.
It's a language spoken in India
Okay.
by a pretty large, population. It's not
okay.
a small language.
But shout out to our Gujarati speakers, I guess, right?
I'm having to I'm having to now educate myself to find untranslatables because I have to look for languages that don't just come to my head, and I'm still finding them. It's still going.
I'm weird, and I somehow try to relate the language to the topic that I'm doing, and then
So are all of yours Russian?
they are not actually.
Okay.
Mine are Hindi and and Korean. Hindi and Korean.
Okay, and that's tied back to our topic somehow.
In a little bit, yeah.
Okay. Magaj ni kadi nakar. Don't make curry of my brain.
That's like, don't mess with me.
No.
Don't try to confuse me. Don't try to swindle me.
No.
No.
When you say, what was the first one you said?
Don't try to confuse me.
No, that was the last
Don't
one.
try
you
to
said.
swindle me.
Don't try to mess with me.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Like,
Because that could be it, but it
I
could
mean,
not be it.
it could be physical. Like, don't
No,
try
okay,
to,
then not really. It's
Could
a little
be-
less, a little more harmless than that.
Oh, it's a little more harmless. Okay.
So,
Give me a
don't make
clue.
curry of my brain. Maybe you have like a, well, for example, at home I have a little ninja, and not a child, by the way, just to be clear, it's a cat. And sometimes I just want to say, don't make curry of my brain to him.
Don't stress me out.
Don't bother me.
Oh, okay. Don't bother me. Okay.
Yeah, because
All right.
being bothered is exhausting.
And it makes curry of your brain.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, my
Okay.
brain's turning into mush.
Or curry.
Or
in this
curry,
case.
yeah.
Curry in this case. Well, Jared, you know what? I'm going to keep with the food theme here a little bit, and let me give you a Korean one. And this one goes like this. It is Sik Yun Juk Meat K. And I'm sure I said that incredibly wrong. But what it's supposed to mean is it is like eating cold kanji. Do you know what kanji is?
Yeah, that's like the characters. I thought that was a Japanese
No,
character.
no, not kanji. Like eating cold
Wait,
rice porridge.
Would you say not kanji, but what?
It's okay. So the Japanese
You said not
letters.
kanji, but the Japanese letters
The
is.
Japanese are called kanji.
What did you say?
Kanji.
Okay.
CON.
And those are two different words that we're saying
One's
right
a
now.
food. Yes, but they're
Well,
spelled. Yeah.
I understand that one's a food and one's characters,
Yes.
but is it the same word?
Different words.
Different words. Is it the emphasis that we're saying differently?
I could not tell you.
Kanji.
Like eating cold kanji.
Kanji.
But see, if I say it after you say it, I'm gonna.
Am I saying it wrong when I say?
No,
when
you're
I
saying it right.
Okay.
But I think these are just two words. They're what's that? Homophones, right? Where they're
okay.
same sound, different
Okay.
word, right? Am I right about that? Correct.
If that's the word, I don't know.
Well, anyways,
Is it
like rice? So
they're
it's-
real friends. They're
it's
not
like
false friends.
eating-
They're real friends.
No, they're false friends. They're different words.
Oh right, okay.
They have different meaning.
Yeah.
They're two different words. So it's like eating rice porridge.
No, but you said you said okay, eating rice porridge. Okay, it's like easy, super easy, easy as pie.
Yep,
Piece of
right
cake.
here. Right, you're correct, and also I was correct. Each or two of more words having the same pronunciation but different meanings.
Okay.
And origins. And kanji is
So
a
that's what I was
Japanese
asking
word.
you though. Do they have the same pronunciation, or are we supposed to be putting emphasis on different spots
Oh,
for each word?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Sorry,
I wouldn't expect you to know
Right.
that. I'm. Yeah, that's fair. I don't know why I'm not like. I'm like, why am I asking this? Of course, why would he know
Yeah,
this?
I don't know. But
Yeah.
2 different languages though. And
Okay.
I couldn't tell you. But
But okay, I got you. I think I misunderstood you because I was like, did he did he like mishear me and think I said it? Like, no, you're saying kanji. I'm saying kanji.
no,
Because that's what you said, and I was like,
I see
yeah,
what
okay.
The miscommunication was. Yeah, no. I thought you meant I was saying the Japanese character word kanji.
I gotcha.
So,
That's
yeah.
what I thought at 1st, but okay.
Yeah. No, we're clear though.
See, this is what makes untranslatables fun.
Exactly. See, people, that's how you negotiate some meaning right there, and figure it out. So, what do you got for me, Jared? Let's see if
Another
I can
Gujarati one, and it's Tukachu Limbu. You're a raw lemon.
You're a raw lemon. Is that like you're like don't be a party pooper?
No, that's a
No.
good one though.
No. Okay, I like that one. Party. pooper.
That's probably how I would think of it too, as an American.
Don't be a raw lemon. Give me
like
give
a
me
sourpuss almost.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
yeah,
not
like
it
you're
though.
like a poor sport.
Yeah.
Some people would
That's
say.
not it.
The Great Gatsby sport on everybody. Old sport, right?
You know,
Isn't that what he says? Old sport.
I've only seen that movie once.
Right. It's actually a book too.
Yeah. I don't think I read it.
I haven't either. I can't really talk. I haven't either. All right.
You're a raw lemon.
Raw lemon. Give me a clue.
I'm sure you work around some raw lemons.
Is it positive or negative?
Negative, I guess, or realistic. Some might say. Just this is facts.
Some
It's
people,
not negative or positive. It's just facts.
Okay. Some people who are rude.
It's like, all right,
Or impolite?
it's like, I'm not gonna here. I'll think of one. Listen, I'm not gonna ask Cheryl to help me with the TPS reports because I've seen her do TPS reports before, and she's kind of a raw lemon. I think it's just easier if I, struggle through it on my own rather than get help from her.
So she's just not very good at doing.
Or it's like, yeah, it's more specific than that, I guess I should say. Where it's like
They're messy.
Well, let
sloppy
me put it this way:
details.
where it's like, but she's her mom owns this company, and she
So she's spoiled.
no, she can't do her no unqualified, partially qualified.
Oh, unqualified partial. Ah, I see. Okay. Interesting.
By the way, I believe I got a twofer on you. You get 0 for 2.
Yep.
Which is not really my goal, but it does feel good when you can still stump a person,
It hurts, Jared. It hurts. It hurts.
It's all
so
part of the
much.
fun, This is
Right.
the game.
It's like that video. I just want to be appreciated.
You're losing me. I'm not familiar.
Never mind, I'm
What
just-
video is that?
There's some goofy. I don't know if it's a TikTok video or what, but I saw it on YouTube.
Okay.
It's like this woman where she's like, I just want to be appreciated, and then they play like this music behind it. It's really funny.
Okay.
Um,
I'm not in the TikTok world really.
I'm not either, but I stumbled across it somewhere. But hey, we are talking about. I guess you know what I was going to give you another untranslatable, but we're already talking about social media. So let's get into the meat and the potatoes, the taters as the cool
Speaking
kids
of
say.
not being into TikTok, I definitely have curated my social media experience, and I don't find a place for social media like TikTok.
Why is that?
It's not for me. First of all, I don't really enjoy just watching videos over and over again. Like, it's not a very practical thing to do. I'm a very multitasky person. I'm a scatterbrain, and
You're a podcast listener kind of guy, though.
I've been listening to more music recently now that I have Apple
really?
Music. I told you I listened to an album on the way here in the
Right.
car. I am still primarily a podcast person, though. Sure, yes, but I don't like the idea of having to constantly have like stopping my you I feel like to do TikTok, you kind of have to just be it's not a good on the go kind of thing to do. To watch a video, to have to listen to it, it's just not convenient for me. It's not. I'm not interested, and I don't care about people dancing and doing the same. I don't.
You're not trying to learn the freshest
very
new
repetitive.
dance crazes, Jared.
It's very repetitive because
I'm
yes,
shocked.
it's just the same dances over and over again. Unless you go to like dark talks,
Whoa,
there are
what are
some-
dark talks? And
It's
you
just,
probably know about this from your mom's house, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's
right?
just it's not a real thing. It's just not all the TikToks are
always nice, and friendly.
nice and friendly people dancing. That's just the ones that most people get curated towards because that's what most people are looking for. But yeah, it just has no.
Well, that's how
interest to me.
social media works.
Yeah,
In theory, in its essence, it wants to get you watching the things you like, or should I say, the things that will keep you watching and coming back.
Yes, and they have to know how to like it's. I've actually noticed that too because for example, I've started to see Formula One things like in my trending, but I'm like, I always thought, or car related stuff. I follow a lot of car stuff, but I was like, I always thought trending was like some of the top conversations in the country. I didn't think it. I don't want it specific. I don't really want it specifically tailored. Like one of the things trending was like Lewis Hamilton got COVID. I know that. I don't need a trending thing to learn that because I'm deep. Like I'm into
You're
it.
deep in it.
I want to know. Like I kind of want it to be more broad than that. But I was like, it's clear. As I got into Formula One over the past couple of years or so, I start following more Formula One related stuff. They start knowing that I like that, so they start showing me more stuff. I get that, but it's like I'm starting to think they're actually going a little too deep for me personally. Because I'm like, I don't need it to be this specific. This is so specific that I'm going to learn about this anyway.
And this is on Twitter?
Yes. Twitter is I'd say my main.
Your go-to.
And I'd also say Twitter is probably, and Facebook. Twitter and Facebook are probably the two main ones right now as far as the quote-unquote conversations around echo chambers.
Oh, yeah. I would
Reddit,
agree.
too. I'd say Reddit as well. Because Reddit, they've actually recently been cracking down on some conservative subreddits. Is that what you call them? I'm not a huge Reddit
subreddits.
person.
Exactly.
So that in Reddit over the past like 10 years or so has kind of cleaned up their site because it used to be even.
There used to be a lot of dirty stuff on Reddit,
and there's a lot of there is a lot of dirty stuff, but there used to be like a lot of more like now it's just
but
dirty
it's also
stuff.
Reddit, like
there's a lot of dirty stuff, but there used to be a lot more like effed up stuff, like messed up stuff, not just like your standard sort of pornographic stuff,
right? Or gross or whatever.
Sure,
right?
yeah.
It's. I think the thing that is so crazy about social media is I think it really can get you in certain mindsets or moods because you're seeing all these things. And the other issue with social media is you just keep scrolling through, right? Like a lot of these, the way they're designed to just keep scrolling, and you just don't stop scrolling.
Yeah.
And then you start to see things, and then if you click like, then the algorithm knows, and then they give you more.
Yeah.
And it just, the cycle goes on and on and on.
So we're speaking about echo chambers, though,
right?
And I think echo chambers is specifically you fall into a group where or like a sort of a loop on your social media where you're only hearing things that confirm your biases, confirmation bias, and you're only hearing things that are like pro your side and anti your other side. Also, things that are sort of set up to get you angry at the other side too. So it's almost kind of provoking you to want to interact with these people, and so it can tell what you are. And I've actually seen on Facebook there's a section where it makes a whole bunch of assumptions about who you are, and it even like assumes your political party and stuff like that. And you can literally just go into settings and it'll show you what it thinks your political party is, along with a whole bunch of other categories that are less interesting but still weird. And so it's just set up to do that, and it's working too. It works so chef's kiss flawlessly.
Right.
I'll say this as someone addicted to social media, I fully admit that, and I don't want to. It's interesting because it's like. I am probably in an echo chamber too on my social media, but I don't want to I don't want to be angry. Like I don't want to be like sucked into arguments or like have to sort of like like uphold my some opinion or like stand by some opinion on social media, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I don't want that to be like, I don't like, I think it's even crazier to me that became a place where now people have to like make official statements, you know, people like make official apologies where it's like, I don't ever want that to have to be where like, even if I have to make some sort of serious apology or something, it's like, I hate the idea of having it to be on like social media like that.
You have
where
to turn to your Twitter.
Yeah, where that's like a place where like that's official information about my life, you know? Like this is my official place to spokesperson essentially.
Well, I think if we're talking about a legitimate apology, you got to talk to the person, you know.
Sure, of course.
Great if you know, yeah, but it's.
But like apologizing to society is certainly a thing that people do.
That's true. Well, I think a lot of that's also due to social media and due to cancel culture.
Sure.
You know? Yeah, but I think you're so right about people reacting. Like, I think I often ask myself now, and the reason why I've cut back on social media a lot is I started to notice, like, I kept seeing, you know, and these are people I like. They're people that, you know, I don't know if I would even call them friends anymore because it's not like we like hang out or do stuff, you know,
right.
They're acquaintances.
Like high school friends.
Right, exactly.
That you still, I know, I understand
and
that.
And so, you know, you see them on Facebook, but, you know, they post like the same political stuff and I'll like it. And so I'll keep seeing similar stuff. And I don't know, like it was so funny. I think I told you there were a couple of weeks back in 2016 where I liked a bunch of conservative stuff on Facebook.
On purpose?
Yes. A bunch of Trump, a bunch of crazy stuff. And Facebook, I don't think they knew what to do with me for those couple of weeks. But as I told you,
it was like such a strong departure, and they're like, "Wait a second, we can't just switch him over to conservative immediately." But this is getting weird,
right? But the other thing is, then I got messages from a lot of my very liberal friends saying, "Excuse me, do you actually like Trump? Did you?" And I'm like,
"I'll say this though, if you say that, but if you're deep on Twitter and I start seeing you retweet a bunch of Trump stuff, I would probably call you out."
I'm glad you haven't found my secret Twitter.
I mean, I would probably do the same thing. I'd be like, "Why are you liking this stuff?"
Right.
And I was like, "Do you agree?" I'd probably be like, "Do you agree with that?" And then, granted, you'd probably just tell me, and I'd be like, "All right," and I'd still side you for a bit,
right?
Like social media did.
Right.
I don't think it's crazy for someone to be like, "Oh, is someone that's my friend all of a sudden, changing their political views like that?"
Right. I don't know. I guess I just don't care, to be honest with you. Like, what your political beliefs are, it's your own business. It's your own opinion.
Sure. I think I care more than that. Because I think
cool.
it kind of
Nothing
speaks a
wrong with
little
that.
bit to like your humanity a little bit, and I don't believe that there's like a separation between like you can't. I don't think there's like politics is so ingrained into society. I don't really believe in like this like, leave politics out of it kind of thing. And I don't, and not even to the point where you have to get into arguments every time you are talking to someone about politics or something like that. But I do think that it does say something about you who you vote for, and it's like,
well, sure, of course,
and it's like if I find out like if it might bother me that to find out like that someone supports something that I find to be so completely opposite of how I feel, or it's like, yeah, maybe this person is friendly and I could theoretically have a friendly relationship with them, but why would I bother having a friendly relationship with someone that I barely respect? Like I don't even respect their opinions and their stances.
But let me ask you this. So what about let's be hypothetical. I'm not a Trump supporter, but let's just go down the rabbit hole for a minute, Jared. Let's play this game, okay? Let's try to play this game here. So let's say I become a Trump supporter, whatever.
Weird timing, but okay.
Yeah, well that's true. Well, we'll just say like that type of political. Okay. You know what I'm saying.
Let's say this is before he got elected, and you started being like, he has some good ideas,
Right. He's a good businessman. I'm just trying to remember what people would say. He was a good businessman, blah, blah, blah. But but when we hang out, I would say I treat you with respect. I would say we both listen to one another. We've done a lot of things as like friends for a long period of time. if you had very different political beliefs than I did, and even if I didn't, if I like strongly, I really think maybe it's wrong if this was actually true, but I really think if your political beliefs were so different from mine that I couldn't agree with you, I don't know. I would find it difficult to. Like, I maybe would think a little differently about you, I guess, as you would me if I was a Trump supporter, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't think I would, like, I like you as a person and as a friend, so
Yeah, I
you
get
know what
that.
I mean?
I would certainly lose some respect for you.
Sure.
And I would, yeah, no, I don't know if I couldn't do it. Mm-mm. I don't think I could do it.
So if I was a Trump supporter, you just wouldn't, like, this podcast would be done?
Because, yeah, I think so. Because that makes no sense to me, and also like it would be like, and then I'd be like, all right, so you support the bills that are trying to make discrimination for LGBTQ people not illegal, or do you agree that Black Lives Matter is largely a terrorist organization that is destroying America, or do you believe in like a various number of things that I can't think of right now? And you'd be like, no, it's just the politics, or excuse me, no, it's just the economics. I like the tax,
right.
and I was like, all right, so to save a couple $1,000 or $100 every year, you're okay with all of this other stuff that the party that you just supported is enacting. Like, you're willing to let all that go for a couple $100 in your personal pocket. Yeah, I don't respect that.
Right. Well, that's fair. I think there's nothing wrong with that, but I don't know, man. I guess I take a different approach to viewing. I don't know. I guess maybe it's because I do have friends that are Trump supporters or not Trump supporters.
And I have had friends that are Trump supporters. Have had.
Right.
But I can't do it. Because especially since some of it has been because of social media. I can show you. I still follow them. I can show you one of their social medias.
I kind of want to see this now. Yeah,
and it's like, bro, I can't. Like, we were best friends in high school, and I'm like, bro, I can't. I have no respect for this. You can just well, first of all, you can just scroll through his Twitter, and just read some of at least the titles of the names of the people he's retweeting. You're just, so who are you? Is he retweeting?
Donald Trump Jr.
Keep going.
Justice Thomas.
Yeah, that
Buck
Clarence
Sexton,
Thomas, by the way.
The Hill. Rep Jim Jordan. President Trump is. Oh God. Oh man.
He was one of my best friends in high school, and I have no respect for that.
Elon Musk.
But look at that. That's look at it. Isn't his Twitter is almost also the perfect example. I mean, anyone's Twitter is. I'm not just pointing him out. You're just looking at it. That's an echo chamber Twitter right there.
Yeah, it is. That's a great point.
His stance is clear and consistent.
Right.
But and he's only like, and it's just like and he's like is just like retweeting stuff about like election fraud or like just a bunch of various extreme Candace Owens, Charlie Kirk, just these extreme right wing people, Dana Loesch.
Can I also say this though?
I don't respect that.
I think I agree with you, but I don't respect that on either side. Some people, they post so much shit about Biden that I'm just like, look, I think it's good he got elected. I voted for him. But you just post like he's the next savior. And it's like, oh God. But that's another example. Oh yes, I can't wait to see what you're going to show me now. This is always a good sign, people. If Jared starts.
Have you heard of the blue MAGA hat?
No, what is this? I mean, it already makes sense.
First of all, I don't really roll in crowds, to be honest with you. Right. Like, I don't really roll in crowds with people that are like huge Biden heads. Now, I roll in crowds with people that have that supported him and voted for him, but not many people that I follow are like, oh, finally we're saved. Like it's everything is gonna be okay. It's more just like it's like we've done what has to be done kind of feeling, rather than like he's the next savior. But this is not official. Not official merchandise, by the way. Someone merchandised some blue MAGA hats. Read what those say on them. They're blue. You know, they have the MAGA print, the Make America Great Again print.
Oh,
and
this is so
plain,
tactless.
It's a plain blue hat.
So stupid.
And can you read what it says?
Yeah, made America great already. This is so dumb and so ignorant on so many levels.
Because Biden's just been voted in, is what they're saying.
Oh, that's so dumb on so many levels, though, dude.
Yeah,
man.
but that's another. I mean, as you're saying, that's
kind of the same. It's just cringeworthy.
Sure. Also,
know?
I hate the ironic use of the MAGA hat. Like so in that like that changes the saying, but it's on a MAGA hat. I was like, I don't want to wear that style of hat. Period. Like that whole like I don't. It's
I
that
do
plain.
I do like the one though. There was one I saw online, and it looked pretty similar. And all it said was "made you look." I like that one. I thought that was creative. That was kind of
actually kind of creative. But it's just like, you know why I don't like it? Because it's like if you're essentially, you know, making a hat that plays off of that slogan because you dislike this person so much, you got to find a new slogan.
Yeah,
you're like
giving attention to them.
You're just taking their thing and changing. It's kind of like Blue Lives Matter for Black Lives Matter. It's like you guys couldn't think of your own thing,
right?
So you just took theirs and slightly changed it to fit your narrative. It's like that's so lame.
All lives matter. Yeah,
I just find that so lame. It's like that shows how disingenuous it is. You're just like, oh, since you said that, I'll say this. It's like we know, or you agree that this person's lame. So why are you taking his slogan or his like acronym? You know?
Yeah. I have to say, Jared, lately these days, my social media, it's been really nice. It's basically music-related stuff. On Instagram, a little bit of philosophy, kind of goofy philosophy quotes. I know it sounds corny and cheesy, and Jared's already losing respect for me as I say
I
this.
I just would like an example.
Like, well, here, I can...
I don't even know what that would look like. I mean, I guess I would.
Just like a quote from like
daily inspirationals.
Right, well, kind of. They're more like deep thinking type of stoic. It's on stoicism.
Stoicism.
So like,
isn't stoicism being like serious and not smiling?
No, I think being stoicism is being able to control your emotions during difficult.
I always thought you'd say like someone was stoic or like someone has a stoicism about them, and it's like they're very serious and.
I don't think that's necessarily true. I think you can still smile. You can still be a human.
Oh, maybe
being
it's just more someone that's what it should be is stoic. Is someone that's like very calm and centered almost, and not like
exactly.
Okay.
So here you go. Here's like a quote. So another person cannot hurt you. So shout out to Stoic Reflections. Another person cannot hurt you without your cooperation. You are hurt the moment you believe yourself to be.
Yeah, I would not read that, especially on Twitter. Like if that popped up, or excuse me, on Instagram. I see you're on Instagram.
Right.
Yeah, see, that there's no interest for me. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but that's just, especially on Instagram, that's just so not. I'm not looking for words on Instagram because I'm such a Twitter head.
Here's another one for you. This is from George Bernard Shaw. 2 things define you: your patience when you have nothing, and your attitude when you have everything.
So these are kind of corny. So do you like actually read these and think about them? You're like,
if it's a good one.
What does that one say? Difficulty is what?
Difficulty is what wakes up the genius. I think that's true.
Yeah, okay.
I think that's true.
I agree with that.
So, but see, sometimes, sometimes I'll read something like this, and maybe this just goes to show you, I don't know, maybe I'm a weirdo, Jared, but I'll read something like this sometimes, and then if, like, I have a long day of work tomorrow, I think about that quote, and I'm like, you know what, like, all right, like, maybe I need to just... be more positive about this and like
that's good. That's good.
So that's why I like that stuff.
That's good.
And
I mean, I think I'm the problem here. I like to make fun of you and stuff, but I mean, whatever like motivates you, and if it works, then and I understand it, and it's just to me. It kind of makes me roll my eyes a little bit at those.
Right.
Those are almost like the posters you see in like a like a generic office,
right?
Where it's like motivate yourself to success.
Or
someone like in a suit on the top of a mountain.
Or I wonder if those are also like a also kind of like those generic live, laugh, love.
Yes.
Like the Instagram equivalent of
like a sorority
live, laugh,
girl
love.
sayings.
Right, exactly. But the reason why I like that stuff, well, it's obvious why I like it, I guess, because I'm a nerd and it's...
come on.
Think about it. But here's the thing, though. The reason why I mentioned it is it in itself, though, is also kind of an echo chamber. Mm-hmm. But for me, I would
positivity.
I would rather have an echo chamber with some philosophical quotes and guitar stuff than...
An echo chamber of positivity it sounds great, but that's not what that's not what, unfortunately,
intended
social
to be.
media thrives off of. No,
Right.
but social media doesn't thrive off of positivity.
Right.
And you're not even really like the common user because you don't post a lot. You don't I assume you don't reply to a lot of stuff.
No.
And I like I don't really either. Sometimes I will just on our podcast one, but that's just more just so that I should do something so people see
Right.
us. But like in general, I'm not like a big like tweeter or responder.
Right.
And I don't think we're not really the main. Obviously, we're a customer. They want to retain us and stuff. But I think what really is the what keeps social media going, especially Instagram's a little different because it is a lot of videos and pictures. But I think like Facebook and Twitter is the conflict and the arguments.
Oh yeah, and I just don't involve myself with that.
I'll listen, and I'm not perfect. Just because I don't post stuff and I don't get involved in arguments, I do.
It's fun to lurk sometimes.
I'm a hard lurker. I'm on social media all the time, even though I'm not posting. But I do purposely click on stuff knowing that the responses are going to annoy me. Like I know like what the crowd's generally going to be in the responses, and I know that I'm going to eat like for example with the Lewis Hamilton stuff. Sometimes like I know these people are just going to like shit on him, even though he just broke some record. But I'm going to read it anyway,
and then
and I just get mad at for no reason. And it's like, why am I just purposely getting myself mad when I'm seeing exactly what I knew I would see?
Why don't you? Well,
because it's just ignorance. I
understand that, but why?
Okay.
I would, I guess, try to laugh at those poor people.
Sometimes it's funny because sometimes it's so ignorant where it's like, are you just trying to like say something stupid?
Well, my other question is, do these people have their actual profile picture on their Twitter, or is it an avatar? Because if it's an avatar, in my opinion, they might just be some trolls.
One of my favorite pictures is the picture that is used on like a left-leaning Twitter, on Black Twitter, where it's like the picture of like the MAGA guys, and it's like all like the white dudes with the beards, like with the terrible selfies, and whenever someone like posts something like opposing the something, they'll be like, oh yeah, you fit in, you're one of those, you're one of them. So there's either that kind of guy where it's like some old guy that's like, it's not like it used to be. This Lewis Hamilton could never hang with Schumacher or Senna back in the day. He or it'll be like someone that has like one of Lewis Hamilton's rivals as their picture.
Right.
As their and every time it's like, yeah, of course it's like this is stupid. Who cares what these people think anyway?
It's funny. It's funny you mention that though. I felt kind of like that old man a couple weeks ago with one of my freshman students. One of my freshman students was like, LeBron is the GOAT, and I was like, wait a minute. Wait a minute here. I think LeBron is I think LeBron is hands down one of the best basketball players in history. But I mean, dude, as a kid growing up in the '90s, I was a fan of Jordan. That was just how it was, and I'll always.
But just because you were a fan of Jordan, does that take away from LeBron now being the GOAT?
I think LeBron is the current day Jordan, so no.
Okay.
I feel like, but I think LeBron is him. He's also himself, though, so I think it's a little unfair to even say that he's the modern. But I think what I mean by that is for people who watch basketball or are getting into basketball now, LeBron is that captivating figure like Jordan was when we were kids.
But it also seems like, I understand the Jordan thing, but it also seems like LeBron is sort of a more personable person. Sort of more humanitarian-esque person. He seems to be a little bit better, like social, like in like outside of basketball. He has a slightly better image than MJ, I would say.
Probably could be. I think MJ was known as kind of an asshole.
Yeah, LeBron started schools and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But MJ's given a lot back to his community. We've also done some shout outs.
He's
for him too.
sponsoring Bubba Wallace.
Is he really?
I think MJ bought it. I think he bought a team. And he hired Bubba Wallace as one of his drivers for next season or something like that.
See, that's stuff you kind of like to see, I guess.
Yeah,
cool.
But I think that's also and I'm not meaning to shit on Michael Jordan. He's not a terrible human being that shouldn't be around or anything. But I definitely think he's definitely gotten seems like a little better in his later years.
Maybe just getting older and wiser.
I don't know the guy, by the way, just to be clear.
Right.
Have you ever heard of Parler? Have you considered checking out Parler for a nice... I
have not.
Parler is a new social media, and it's supposed to be a place that actually promotes free speech and doesn't censor people.
Okay, interesting. Well,
And
YouTube, I know YouTube does censor quite a bit.
sure, yeah, and all the shadow banning and stuff. Yeah, of course they do.
There's certain
because
words I try not to say in our podcast now that I've become aware of.
they're a business, and they also are trying, and they have, that makes sense. Where it's like, if we want people to come visit us, we don't think we might not necessarily stop you from having a YouTube channel. Sometimes they will, but it's like, but we won't make it easy for you to be found.
Right.
If you're going to talk about certain subject matter or show certain stuff.
Right. Well, some people get unsubscribed to certain channels too.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about that.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's about, because I've heard about that in the car community a lot, or that's only because that's most of the YouTube stuff I watch is car related, where it's like, I can't figure out that it doesn't make any sense to me that it would be like content related, because I don't really watch a lot of like crass car related content,
Right.
So I sometimes I think some of that might be more like just YouTube like flaws in the programming that bugs and stuff. I don't know if that's fully, maybe it is, maybe I'm wrong, but sometimes but I can't imagine that some of the people that I see talking about that having that issue are having the issue because their content is so so bad somehow.
Right.
But I don't know. Parler anyway, it's a social media. It's kind of like known to be like a sort of conservative bastion kind of for.
Is it? Okay.
I think some popular conservatives on Twitter, maybe not James Woods, but some characters like that have got off Twitter and gone to Parler, but it requires a lot more information from you.
Really?
Like your phone number, and I think maybe even social security number, if I'm not mistaken.
What?
But
why?
I don't know.
Nope. That's a hard no. For
I mean,
me.
no
I'm
one's
not going to be joining.
It's not. I don't
something
think.
where I have to do
think Twitter and Facebook are concerned. But I hate that idea of. I mean, that's a big thing of the echo chamber. Whereas that idea of like cutting off people's free speech,
Right.
And it's like, well, you're on you're allowed to say whatever you want, but the company that hosts this and that is pushing your content out is not required to push out content that, for whatever reason that is, they find not worthy of for the public, where it's like they're not saying you can't say it, they're saying you can't say it here.
Right.
And so
especially if you're all about freedom, the business should have that freedom to be able to make those rules if they want to.
But I think some people argue that like now, and this is why they're now going up before Congress, is that like they're so big and they never expected to be this big, which I understand. Where it's like now they have so much responsibility that they have almost a social responsibility to the United States to not just function purely off of profit, but also, provide a fair space for people. I guess I don't know. I struggle with that sometimes.
Well, another big thing with the echo chamber is also in the comments. Mm-hmm. So a lot of social media platforms where they have, like YouTube sometimes. I mean, how many times have you gone on a YouTube video just to look at the comments? Let's be honest.
YouTube might be the worst comment section out there.
Sometimes the funniest though too.
I mean, they're funny, but it might be the worst. Twitter's getting close, I would say. I think Twitter's getting very close. But YouTube has been like historically terrible. Because I think YouTube also probably offers the most level of anonymity.
That's true.
Because the vast majority of people commenting are not really posting videos or don't, and if they are, they're not some huge channel.
And they have an avatar.
They have some avatar. They have some random name.
Right.
They're not posting about their life on YouTube. They're not interacting with other people. They're not interacting with like their friends on YouTube. Really,
right. They post videos and comment on videos.
Exactly, and so it's very easy to just be a avatar and then just say the worst stuff. And also, I mean, I don't know. But it doesn't seem like maybe they've changed recently, but it doesn't. But it would have to be recently. Like their editing of like YouTube's editing of comments have been very loose. Like they don't seem to they don't seem to try very hard to like push bad comments out. It's more just like it seems very based off of just like sort of the ranking system when people like comment or like the comments or something like that. And there's a lot of terrible stuff. And the thing about YouTube, I'm in the car world a lot, as I just said. There's so many like everybody knows better than everybody.
Of course.
Everybody has the answer in the comments. and that is it. Everyone has a different answer, but everyone has the answer.
It's always really. It can be funny or an interesting ride to head in the comment section.
You know, it's another
videos.
very something I've noticed about echo chambers is let me know if you've seen this. I don't know if they would do this on Facebook. On Twitter, there is a pride in getting blocked by certain people. So you'll see this on both sides, of course, but you'll see like say you're like some sort of hardcore lefty, and it'll be like blocked by Candace Owens, blocked by Ben Shapiro, where it's like you really stuck it to the Republicans to this, they couldn't handle it anymore. And you see it on the other side too, blocked by Bernie Sanders, blocked by Chris Hayes or something like this. It's like the libs just couldn't handle the cold hard truth.
Right.
And it's just like a way of signaling to your team where it's like, listen, I'm so real that these libs can't even handle me, or that these conservatives can't even handle me. And it's just a calling card. So the thing about the echo chamber to me is there's no changing it, because it's not even just what companies want, like Facebook and like what the social media companies want, but I think it's what people want. Like, I'm not interested really in just reading a bunch of opinions of people I
you don't know and you'll
disagree
never
with.
meet.
I fully admit that I prefer an echo chamber than just getting annoyed by essentially random people that I don't agree with at all.
Right?
That's not fun to me.
Let me ask you, Jared. Did you ever get in any Facebook arguments with people back in the day?
There was one time I remember commenting on someone's, and I still am kind of mad at myself for doing this. This was,
what'd you do?
I think, slightly post-college, maybe like 2014.
Okay.
When Black Lives Matter was sort of first getting hot.
Mm-hmm.
Someone from our college, and we were out of college at this point, but just out of college.
Can you drop their first name?
Justin. He posted some stupid shit about Black Lives Matter and about like some CVS burning down or something. And I was just like, I find it very interesting that you post about being concerned about a CVS being burned down, but not the unjust terms by which this person was killed. It's like, why is it that you're so concerned about this CVS, but not? And
right.
I'm sure I did not say it anywhere close to as eloquently as I'm saying it right now. But as soon as I posted it, and I'm like, why am I doing this? Because you know why
Right.
I thought that. One, I'm not a commenter, but it's like I'm going into this person's echo chamber.
Oh, and you're disrupting it.
And it's like what makes me think I'm going to come out of this feeling good or feeling like I accomplished anything?
And you're not going to change their mind
because
probably.
that for sure true. But it's like
Right.
then I'm going into an echo chamber where he's posting that where he feels comfortable, and a bunch of people are going to reply where it's like, well, Black Lives Matter is all this echo chamber stuff on quote unquote his side.
Right.
Which I even hate to use with something like that, but so it's just like it was not. As soon as I posted it, actually one of my friends texted me. He's like, "Bro, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "I don't know, man." I literally was like, "I don't know why I did that."
Right.
I was just mad. I was just mad, and it was just the heat of the moment.
That reaction. I've had a couple times.
And I'll say this: that was, as I mentioned, like 2014, 15ish. I don't think I've done it since. Like, or maybe I've responded to something, but not like out of anger like that.
Right. Well, like I saw a comment that somebody made from Albion, and she was complaining about the pay gap between the WNBA and the NBA. Mm-hmm. And then Rahman, one of our fraternity brothers, commented, and he's like, "Well, it's simply economics."
Yeah, nobody watches the
like,
WNBA.
Yeah, it's simple, know. And he said it wasn't.
First of all, that's some real dude shit. I'd just stay out of it.
Right. But
sorry, go ahead.
But the whole thing about it is like, why? He wasn't arguing that men and women shouldn't have equal pay, but it's when you're talking about entertainment, it's about how much money you bring in.
Yeah,
and like he was trying to explain that, and then people were saying,
"I get that," But once again, you're walking into that person's echo chamber
again,
and there's no. That's what mansplaining is, where it's like she didn't ask you. She wasn't asking
right.
For your economic explanation. Like, there's no way she doesn't understand that. I don't know. There's no benefit to doing that.
But at the same time, it's
like he's not helping.
Right. He's not, but at the same time, I also wonder. Like, I used to post somewhat political stuff on my Facebook.
Yeah,
and
I remember those days.
I've
Good
just
times.
kind of stopped
Good times.
because it's like, what's the point?
Yeah.
Like, and the stuff I would post would usually be like, we should be supporting people, so if they're poor, they can still go to college if they want to, you know. And it turns out my brother-in-law unfriended me on Facebook because he was just sick of seeing all the Bernie political shit I was posting. You know, apparently he unfriended my sister and her partner as well, and
I had to unfriend or ignore him. I don't remember if I unfriended him or not. I got close, I know. I definitely thought about it, but I definitely got to a point where I had to ignore him. And not for political reasons, but for religious reasons. He's very Christian.
Okay.
And he was constantly sending me stuff.
Oh,
and I'm
that's
like,
annoying.
and I'm like, I'm not like, I feel like I haven't responded to any of this, and you just keep sending me like this and asking me if I'm going to like church and stuff, and I'm like, I'm not interested in this conversation.
Have you told him you believe in Satan?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Listen, I have fully given my life over to a life of sin, and I have accepted that I will be living in eternity with Satan. That's how that's probably how he sees it. Like, that's the other option.
Probably. I mean, that's why he's messaging you this.
He's like, I'm trying to save you. I'm doing you a favor,
I think
bro.
what you need to message him is and say, look, Jesus died.
I mean, I don't even have
for
Facebook
our
anymore,
sins.
so this is not
That's
a
true.
problem.
That's true. Well, that's how you solve the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Jared. You just get rid of it. That's true. That is true.
Yeah, this was on Facebook, so this has not been a problem for a couple of years.
Well, I still occasionally scroll through Facebook a little bit, but I really try not to because, like, what's the point?
Well, once again, I'm only holier than thou because I don't have Facebook, but I got off Facebook because I thought it felt superfluous to me. Like, I was still fully accepting that I was giving into my social media addiction on Instagram and Twitter. It's just that Facebook felt superfluous to me. So whenever I say I deleted Facebook, there's a little bit of me that feels like, I don't want him to think that I'm like, oh, I'm better than that. Or it's I fully knew I was just transferring all of my attention to those two.
Right.
And I just didn't realize that I wasn't enjoying that one as much.
I will say, though, I think the social media I probably use the most is Instagram, for sure.
You know, I'm actually trying to. Instagram makes sense. I think it's one of the more harmless ones. I'm trying to. I guess for me at least. I think mine's mostly catered to like more hobby related stuff, whether it be cars or like comedy. Just because I have Twitter, where that's like more like the battleground, you know. That's where it goes down. So like I'm looking for more memes and cars on and Formula One on my Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah, for me it's all guitar players I like, guitar brands I like, music stuff.
I'm starting to switch over to Reddit more and more because I like it because it's way more like it's way more aware of itself regarding echo chambers, and it's like just go directly to your echo chamber, so direct where it's like if there's something posted in this that's off topic, we'll take it out. Like, so it's very focused.
Exactly.
And so you can curate your feed to show you exactly what you want. And like for example, every now and again, say I'm just scrolling through my Twitter and someone retweets quote tweets like Donald Trump or something, and I'm like, I don't want to see these ramblings of Donald Trump or something like that. It's like that would never happen on Reddit because it's like if you
it's not there.
If I don't go to a political related subreddit, I'm not going to find anything non-political. I like how specific it is.
Well, that's why I love Reddit.
It doesn't make me angry. It never makes me angry.
Well, I feel like I've also like learned a lot from like Reddit and like random guitar stuff and and also just hearing people's stories and ideas and stuff.
I'll say this: I've probably seen a lot more people die on Reddit than any other social media site, though.
Really? Okay.
Well, but just because there's so many,
I don't
like,
go down those Reddit.
There's
roles.
like Dead or a Vegetable or like Hold My Beer kind of stuff.
Oh,
Or it's like
the Hold My Beer ones are crazy.
All that kind of. Sometimes I go down. I don't really follow them. Well, some of them I do. Not the Dead or a Vegetable one. I don't want to see people die. But every now and again, I'm like, I think I might have just seen someone die. So that's not always a fun way to spend an afternoon. But yeah, anyway, but I know what I'm getting into. I'm never. It's if I'm doing it, it's like, well, yeah, well, I'm in a subreddit where I'm expecting to see some sort of accident happen. So it's not like I'm
hold my beer.
It's not like I'm mad that I saw it because I was like, yeah, this is what I signed up for.
Exactly.
And so I think. In a weird way, I used to sort of look down on Reddit back in the day, and it's been around forever. Like it's one of like it's been around for so long.
Right.
I used to kind of look down on it as a cesspool a little bit, but now I feel like I'm doing myself a favor when I go to Reddit instead of like Twitter or
good
Instagram.
Things on Reddit, for sure. I wonder though, Jared, what social media do you think might have the most toxic echo chambers if you're not careful?
Twitter.
Okay.
And YouTube is tough because YouTube does in the comments, but the YouTube comments is not really a great place.
And you can disable the comments in YouTube too.
Yeah, but that's not a great way to get views.
Right.
But no one that has solid views would probably do that. But also because like it's not a great place for conversation because you can't like go back. Oh, I had a conversation with someone about like you can't go back to that YouTube video and scroll down through the comments and find it. Like it's not really set up for long conversation conversations.
Right. That's a good point.
And so even though there might be some terrible stuff said in the comments, it kind of gets left there, and then you never see it again, you know.
Right. That's
and people move on for the most part. You know, maybe people come back later, but for the most part, people move on. Mm-hmm. And so I would say Twitter.
Okay.
But I might say Facebook is worse.
Okay. What about Reddit? Where does Reddit come in on there?
That might be third.
Really? Okay.
There are a lot of cesspool-y areas as far as conversation topic goes in Reddit. I just steer clear of it.
Right.
Like they've done a lot of stuff to actually clear out some of it, but it's still there. Mm-hmm. It's just they've toned it down a little bit. So I think Reddit is still,
or it's just harder to find.
It's still a place that exactly. You have to look for it. I don't know if it's hard. You just have to look for it.
Right.
But so I think that sort of toxicity is still there. It's just easy to avoid.
I do think with Reddit and when you actually, I think there's a difference between going and looking for something than constantly having an algorithm expose you to something.
Yes.
You know, because I think
because exactly. It's not the algorithm doesn't feel as set up to make you feel a certain way or make you react a certain way because it's more just showing you what you and the thing that Twitter does that is relatively new is that now, I mean, this is within the past couple of years. It now, like, it used to just show retweets, but now it also shows every now and again tweets that people have liked. So, like, the algorithm is doing so much to sort of mess with. It's putting so many more options of things to be seen in your newsfeed, and so many more ways of curating your newsfeed to specifically sort of give you whatever feel that they think keeps you going or whatever it is. Where it's like, all right, I understand, I remember I'm like, why are you showing me likes? Because I thought the point was like means I'm supporting it. Retweet means I want someone else to see what you, like, why are you now showing me what people are liking? Because I feel like that's not what this thing is
it's or
was.
I signed up for.
Oh, can I get your charger?
Yeah, sure. Take it.
And so Twitter is doing, is constantly sort of doing a lot to manipulate. And I think Facebook is doing even more than that. And what makes Facebook even worse, Facebook's doing more because I feel like there are a lot more algorithms going into what you could see on your newsfeed.
Sure.
And then also, at least Twitter has like a, 240 letter character limit. Mm-hmm. People can go on full tirades and write essays and shit on Facebook. And easy. You
can write essays. You can write sonnets.
Yeah, and it's like nobody got time for your novel that you wrote about why Black Lives Matter is ruining America.
Instagram comments are usually pretty short as well.
Yeah, and I'm not interested in reading. Interesting. Instagram comments are also not really well set up for conversation.
Right.
Because even if you look at one comment, you're like, oh, I'm interested to see in the conversation that happened in this one comment. You can't really follow the thread because they show you, at least on the phone, like the past three. And it's like, so I'm following this backwards by 3 messages at a time. Like you can't just start at the beginning and like follow a thread really. And like a bunch of people are just like it's not set up for conversation. Mm-hmm. And that's why I think it's hard. It's a little less hard. So here's the order.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Facebook.
Okay.
Now, you obviously, let me know if you disagree.
Mm-hmm. Okay, sure.
Facebook, Twitter. Mm-hmm. Also, we might be missing some. Reddit. Mm-hmm. and I'm not including ridiculous things like, what is it, 4chan and 8chan and
Right.
16chan
Right.
and stuff like that.
182, 75 chan.
I'm not including those ridiculous monstrosities.
Right. The more popular
Yes.
social medias. Yeah.
So what else is there? Oh, Instagram. What else am I missing? Pinterest. I don't know what's going on Pinterest.
Let's see. Yeah. What other social medias or echo chambers are there?
What about like a?
Well, I mean, forums in general. I think forums can be an echo chamber. Forums in different.
But it's set up.
communities.
But that's kind of the point.
Right.
So, but because usually you're trying. I feel like in a forum, you have conversations and stuff. But I feel like at least you're trying to like find some sort of answer to a topic or something.
That's true. That's a little different, I guess.
And so it's like, well, let me go to the quote unquote experts, dude.
Right.
Man, as someone that's spent some time at car forums, there are so many quote unquote experts. It's. I said that about YouTube comments too, but it's even worse on forums.
Everyone has the right answer, right?
And like you post something, and it's like, oh, you totally did that wrong. It's like everything's wrong unless it's the way you did it. But yeah. So I think as far as echo chambers go, I would say that Facebook and Twitter
I think
and YouTube
they're for sure.
I'd say YouTube's up there too.
Yeah, I would agree.
So Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, YouTube.
Which would you put YouTube?
I'm going to put YouTube before.
I put YouTube 3. Yeah,
Because YouTube's algorithm is so sensitive when it comes to what you click. So like say I'm a car person, I'm a Formula One person. So say that's what is mostly is what's getting recommended on my YouTube. If I were to click on one dog video and watch it for like 5 minutes, I'm gonna have like a good section of my homepage showing dog it's so quick to adjust to what you just watched, and it's so susceptible to being like, oh, you want to watch that? All right, here you go. And it's like, I'll still show you car stuff because clearly you still like it, but you watch that one thing, so let me and then you like don't watch it for another. They're like, all right, you're not interested.
I'm gonna sneak into your place one night and just put a bunch of cat videos on your computer.
Oh my gosh, yeah, just all night just on a loop.
Your entire Instagram feed, all your entire Twitter feed,
Oh my
your
God.
entire YouTube
You just
recommendations.
unsubscribe from
cats.
everything and
And
subscribe
only
to.
cats. Yeah, that's it.
You're gonna cause. You're just trying to cause arguments in my home, aren't you?
Oh, I guess that was a terrible example.
We'll blame it on.
I didn't even put 2 and 2 together there.
I'm gonna like blame it on my partner. She's rightfully gonna think I'm going insane.
Right.
Like, you think I went into your computer and just started watching a whole bunch of cat videos at night? It's like, someone did. Oh yeah, did someone?
Right. And
you're
then
just outside
episode
just watching.
455. I'm
Yeah.
like, by
Hey,
the
Chad,
way,
can I
you
stay
remember
here
a
for
couple of years
days?
ago,
Oh.
right?
I thought I was gonna be coming over, being like, "Hey, I need this place to stay."
Oh, that's true. Hey, this couch is pretty comfy, man. You're welcome to crash anytime you need to.
So yeah, I think YouTube is probably number 3
sure.
behind Twitter because, as I said, it is susceptible.
So
and
Facebook,
yep,
Twitter.
yep.
Yeah, I think Facebook might be a worse echo chamber. Actually,
I
than
think
Twitter.
I think a
you're
big
right.
part of it is
You're right.
because it allows you to pontificate. I think that's a big part of it, and I think
you can't pontificate to the level on Facebook on Twitter like you can on Facebook.
And from what I've heard,
sure.
yeah, exactly, because you have to do like the threads, but you're going to lose people by like the third
Unless
tweet
it's a
in the
good thread, though.
I mean, sure.
I've read like a couple
I've read threads
that
crazy
were-
occasionally, but they've got to be good. It's just not a format that's really conducive to long stuff unless you really got something good to say. And then everyone thinks they got something good to say on Facebook.
That's true.
And then also, it's just Facebook has had more, I think, censorship snafus where they missteps than Twitter.
Okay.
I feel like Twitter has been more consistent in their message on how they handle it, and they've actually been talking about how
Does Twitter have a left-leaning bias? I've heard that. I don't know how true that is.
I think they do. People
they?
have been saying that Facebook has more of a conservative bias as far as how they like.
There's
how
a lot
they
more
set-
old people on Facebook, probably.
Sure.
than
So maybe
Twitter
they just
too, right?
So maybe they just know they're just that just happens to be more how their audience leans because they're older.
Right.
So they're like that's what they tend to favor. But I would say that Twitter seems to have at least a little more. They've made mistakes too, but seems to be more consistent with how they rule than Facebook. Facebook
Right.
seems to be a little bit more confusing and arbitrary. And
I liked how they had the fact check things on certain tweets by
I
a
like
certain
that too.
somebody.
I like that too. And they actually said about the same certain somebody. They've been. I don't know where this came out, but I've been hearing that Twitter's been saying that once this certain somebody is no longer president of the United States anymore, they no longer feel like they have to. They'll be more likely to suspend his
Censor
account
his-
if he says some ridiculous shit. So like he said stuff that might have gotten other people suspended before, but they're like, we can't really suspend the
He's
president.
the president.
But they're like, well, now that he's just a citizen again, if he says some whack stuff, which he probably will, that seems to be his move.
Whenever I hear the word whack, I always think of that meme with Hannibal Buress. Just
Oh yeah, that's whack. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Whack. Yeah. From the Eric Andre show.
Yep.
So yeah, but I think that I just want to. I'm interested to see the future, like how, like because we're still like kind of in the early days of social media.
That's very true.
And I'm just really I'm concerned, because I don't feel like.
What are you most concerned about, Jared?
I'm concerned about the lack of there's not going to be an agreed upon reality. That's something we never even touched on. Is like
that's
the fake
true.
news
Right.
and like believing scientists and like Fauci is a liberal
It's a hoax.
kook that doesn't know what he's talking about, even though he's been doing this for like 40 years or whatever.
Right.
And it's just like this like you shouldn't even be looking at this person as a political person. This is a doctor, like he's doing doctor things. But it's
Right.
like I get really nervous
Research.
about like the more information there is, and we kind of talked about this before, but the more information there is, the less there will be an agreement upon what is truth and what
Right.
not.
Well, and it's so much you have to sift through and
Yeah.
try to figure out what's right and what's wrong.
You actually
and what's
mentioned to
correct.
me about that. You talked about you watched some of that Joe Rogan podcast with the Whole Foods guy, this guy that started Whole Foods.
Yep.
They had a sort of a little mini, argument debate kind of thing. They weren't, it ended peacefully or whatever. But they were talking about like veganism, like the health benefits of veganism versus various diets. And these people, it kind of got annoying to me because it's like these two people were like, oh, well, I saw that, blah, blah, blah. Like this part of a vegan diet means that it's not sustainable in this way. And then the other guy was like, well, I've seen research that says the exact opposite. And it's like, okay, well, and in my mind, I was like, well, how's that going to be settled then?
Right.
You both have seen convincing scientific research that is saying the exact opposite of one another. And it's like now this entire argument that you guys have seems so pointless to me.
Well, I think that just shows we don't really know. Maybe is that what that shows, or who has the better science
Sure.
that's correct?
Sure. Or there's so many different variabilities. Can you even say, well, like what diet is the healthiest diet for a human?
Right.
With all the genetic variabilities, I don't know the answer.
Right. Me either. That's a good question, though.
But I'm not arguing
Right.
these things.
Right.
But it just sounded. But just when I heard that
It sounded kind of like
that
a social
argument, where I
media
was like,
argument.
yeah, it did. And I was like,
Yeah.
well, like they had this conversation for a bit, and I was like, well, after you guys have said this a few times, and it's like, well, I've seen proof that is the exact opposite of your proof. I was like, this argument's dumb,
Right.
Because
Well,
no one's gonna concede. Because everyone has
Exactly.
seen convincing
The
argument
research.
on from their sources on social media or whatever, or science, but and it's like, all right, well, this
Yeah,
is a
it's-
stalemate that's pointless.
Exactly.
And that's kind of how I felt listening
and
to that
that's
podcast.
why I don't comment on a lot of people's stuff. If like I have plenty of people
Yes.
on Facebook that post stuff that I definitely don't agree with, but I figure what's the point? I'm not going to change their mind.
No,
It's just gonna. There's just no point. It's ridiculous.
I agree with you.
But I
feel the same
will say
way.
this though, I do like the fact that I do have some people on my social media that, I was friends with in high school or acquaintances or whatever, just to kind of see what other people are thinking.
I think if
it's
I'm gonna,
interesting.
I understand that too, and that's definitely probably why I keep like the guy I showed you on my Instagram, on my Twitter around, just because it's like, yeah, we're not friends anymore,
Right.
But it is interesting to see where your head's at sometimes, or where to see where these people's heads are at sometimes. And as I told you, like I purposely sometimes go into areas of social media that I know I'm going to disagree with because I like to see it.
Right.
But I know that I'm venturing outside of my echo chamber into
And
like
you
the
might-
deep darkness.
You might get a
Of
little
Twitter.
offended, a little flustered.
I don't really get
a little
offended,
angry.
but it's like just like annoyed. It's really annoyed at like because I feel like
the
it's stupidity. Yeah,
Yeah.
So it's just like it annoys me that people are this dumb, but people that wander from that echo chamber that I'm sneaking into, and then come over to like some liberal echo chamber. Or like these people, like I get annoyed at how dumb these people are. You know,
Well-
it happens on both. I hate to say, I hate that sort of. Oh, it's on both sides,
But it is.
But it is.
It is.
At least in this case, it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hate that in politics sometimes because it's like I hate simplifying something, like simplifying it down to like the Democrats and the conservatives are both bad. It's like, yeah, sure, okay, but it's just like if in my mind, if you look at those options where it's like there's clearly a side that I think that's doing stuff that I find to be more reprehensible than another,
Sure.
and just to say that they're both bad is such an simplification of what's happening
Of
to me.
course. Of course. Yeah, that's for sure.
But in this case, I guess I could say that.
Right.
Do you want to talk about the song of the pod?
Let's do it. Yeah, if you if you're getting tired of all the ridiculous comments from stupid people on social
Dude,
media,
As I
think
told you,
this-
I've been listening to more music. I think that's part of the reason why. I'm
Could
just sort
be.
of, even opinions I agree with, I'm kind of getting sick of listening to them, a little bit.
yeah, you need some variety. You gotta spice
But I don't.
things
But I
up.
don't feel like being angry. I don't feel like
Right.
listening to something I disagree with just for like. I don't know. Maybe I'm just tired of stimulating my brain
Right.
that way.
Well, Jared, I think the song of the pod today might stimulate your brain in the proper kind of way. Our song of the pod today is by Tatsuro Yamashita, and the song is called Sparkle. And in parentheses here, Japanese funk from 1982.
Hey.
And this thing's got, nice little slap bass line, some good horns.
Yeah. It's got like a real, like funk sound to it, almost like a little Motowny a little
A
bit.
little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I get like a.
There's some
It's
lady
from
background
1982 as it
singers.
says there, but it almost gets like a late 60s, early 70s vibe a little bit, like 70s vibe, like
Right.
oldies period.
Mhm.
But as I said before, this was before we're recording. I guess 82, that's still kind of 70s music, right?
Yeah.
Like generations don't
sure.
just change like all right,
In 1 or 2
80s music
years.
on
Right.
January 1st, 1980.
Actually, that's exactly what the record companies do, Jared.
Now,
Now, all right, it's time for 80s music.
get some synths.
Right, exactly. We need more leather coats, synths, some weird hair.
Yeah, just immediately.
Exactly.
They bleed over in generations like that, I
Right.
imagine.
But yeah, this one, it's just so great because there's so many moving parts, I think,
Yeah.
to it. And it all just meshes together pretty good. I want to check out more of this guy's music. I got to say, that's one of the reasons why I love our Songs of the Pod is there's always, like, when we did Ning and Isu, I listened to their catalog for, like, a week after we did that
Yes.
episode. I'm going to be checking out
Yeah, I gave
Corner
you a new one
Shop
last
from our last
episode.
episode. And I really like this Tatsuro Yamashita.
I like it too. I called it a little corny before we started recording.
Did you need to just give it another chance,
I
maybe?
think it helps them giving another chance. I think it's less corny, and maybe it just feels a little like a derivative of like what I'm so used to from like American oldies.
Okay.
So maybe that's why I'm like it just sounds like almost like a knockoff version of like American oldies.
Right.
But now that I give it another listen, I'm starting to think maybe that's a little harsh.
Okay.
But maybe I think that might have been just like my gut reaction when I said corny before, where I'm like, this feels like someone trying to do like, it's one of the, American greats,
Right. But it definitely has a good groove to it. It's
Yeah.
a funky song. So check it out. The song name is called Sparkle by Tatsuro Yamashita.
Yes.
And we will have it on the Song of the Pod for all of you. and
Listen,
it is
even if it is a little
fantastic.
corny, as I also think I said before we started recording, I can't deny that it makes me want to move.
Oh, for sure.
I mean,
Without a doubt.
so I'm not saying I hate it or anything.
Without a doubt. Well, Jared, I think that brings us to the end of our episode today and time to recap.
Yeah, dude.
And I think what you just said actually is very applicable. The song makes you want to get up and move. I think that's what you sometimes need to do with a social media echo chamber. Sometimes get away from it.
Yeah.
Physically get up and move, or just do something else for a while. Because even if you're, like we talked about with my Instagram, reading all these like philosophical quotes and stuff, a lot of it is very positive and it makes me think. But even doing that sometimes I think can be, it's not good to just do the same thing all the time. And-
Well, yeah, I'm sure just in general the instinct to reach for your phone, the process of just scrolling mindlessly, even if you are looking at positive stuff, is probably not very healthy.
Right. Yeah, I would say.
I mean, I know
it's-
posture-wise, it's not literally,
Right.
it's not that healthy, but
But we do
even
a lot
mentally.
of things posture-wise nowadays that are definitely not good
yeah,
for our
sure,
health.
of course,
for work and
especially
everything else.
now that I barely go outside, besides for the grocery store and coming here.
Exactly. But I think it's important to have your echo chamber in moderation. I guess be aware of it as well.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to go outside of the social media stuff that you're accustomed to seeing or reading.
Sure.
I think it's good to see other perspectives.
I think if I'm going to look for something that challenges my my opinions, I just don't think Twitter will be the place I look. I think I would go for something more long form than that, whether that be a podcast or I don't know, even some sort of documentary or something.
Yeah, or a YouTube video or exactly.
Like I just don't think Twitter is where I would reliably try to change my mind, like have my mind change.
Facebook as well, I would say.
Sure, same concept.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's not a place I don't think. Now maybe I find a link to something more long form that could change my mind.
That's true.
Like someone's like, check out this podcast or this YouTube video or something, and I watch it, and I was like, oh, that's some good points.
Exactly.
But that's just Twitter being the conduit to the real information.
Exactly. Which is, I think
it's very useful for as well.
Yep. Which is definitely, we wouldn't be here without it. That's for sure. So, there is some good to it. But
sure,
definitely, like all good things in life, use it in moderation. So you can check us out on social media if you want to expand, I guess, your own echo chamber and have some good old untranslatables, some tasty jams for Songs of the Pod, and some fun conversations. And you can get at us at untranslatablepodcast@gmail.com. You can slide into those DMs on Twitter, untranslatable1, the number 1. Also, you can check us out on YouTube, Untranslatable Podcast, and check out our Song of the Pod for this week, Tatsuro Yamashita, Sparkle. It is on our Song of the Pod playlist. And lastly, please, 5-star reviews on iTunes and Stitcher. Let us know how we can make this podcast better for you. So as we say here at the Untranslatable Podcast, Dziękujemy, muchas gracias, shisha, and do svidania. Also, dude, social media detox, I think, is kind of smart sometimes, too. Just getting off of it for a few days, not using it.
I think the only time I've done that was when I went to the middle of nowhere in Ohio, and I was firmly off it for like 3.5 days. And
Probably did you some good.
Yeah, the first night I was there, I did have that instinct of continually reaching for it.
What did you do instead?
Well, we played card games. Just sat there sometimes,
just looking into each other's eyes, not saying anything.
or just not have, or reaching for, like they had some like coffee table books.
Ooh.
Sometimes I read for those.
Getting your read on.
That was actually really fun for my my morning constitutionals. My number 2s. The phone is a key part of that process. Taking
true.
in like the some of the like the coffee table books of like nice locations, or they had like a tiny home coffee table book.
Ooh.
So I would
Were
that
you
was
thinking about a tiny home to invest in a tiny home in the future? No.
I don't know. Some of them were cool, but
Okay.
but it's like tiny home, big price is what I'm seeing here.
Oh, I like that. That's funny. Tiny home.
But it
big
was
price.
nice. It was nice having that. I just enjoyed using like reading while I pooed. I haven't done that in a long time.
I think reading just in general can be pretty nice.
I think back in the day I used to read a lot of like the ingredients on like chemicals in the bathroom.
Right? Or I remember when we were kids reading the cereal box.
Yes, yeah.
For sure.
Dextromethorel, yellow dye number 3,
Right.
sugar,
High fructose corn syrup.
yeah.
Yep. AKA sugar. Exactly.
Yeah,
Lots of that.
or what is some terrible oil, hydrogenated oils or whatever.
Right. Blue dye number 9, and red dye number 4, and oh man, crazy stuff.
Cardboard.